you know if it's now live. There it is. Okay, there it is. Oh, yeah.
Hey!
There it is.
Wait a minute. Okay, there you go.
All right, guys. Technical difficulties on my end. Apologize to everybody that's watching. My bad. Apologize.
Nice kill. Who's gold?
We are live on both ends. The streaming sides. Cool. All right. I'll pull up both chats real quick. We got some XP music going on. Hell yeah.
Hello.
Oh yeah. So anyway, we got Brimstone. We got Digital Fracture. Go ahead and say hello, buddy.
What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody's doing well. Sorry for not doing the show in the last couple of days. We have been dealing with some personal issues at the house. He's been dealing with issues at his house. And this guy is hardly ever on the show. This is the guy that's responsible for literally 90% of the music that we play here. So if you are kind enough, please go check out my boy XP. He makes really good music, and you would like it too if you do like our podcast.
Hell yeah. Also, guys, I gotta be uploading the show to Spotify and whatnot, so I'll be taking a day this week to do that for you guys. It's just a lot of shit. A lot of shit in the last couple of weeks. It's happened to me personally. Like dogs dying and computers dying and yeah. Just bad luck, bad timing.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Linux to Windows or Windows to Linux. I know Digital's a happy man about all this.
All right. Yeah, we can talk about that first if you want. All right. So yeah. So Windows to Linux. So for the majority of my entire PC gaming career, I have been nothing but Windows mainly. I've dabbled in Linux here and there with this guy XP many years ago. And we've sort of been off and on with the Linux thing for a long time now. And Linux has come far, a far ways from where it once was.
Right.
About 8 or 9 years ago.
Oh,
8 or 9 years ago, you had to run everything manually through the terminal, and it sucked, right? Like it was a rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. It was rough. I'm not gonna lie. It was rough. Was it nice? Absolutely, but it had its issues.
Yeah.
But with Pop OS, those guys over there, they're doing something right, because I have yet to use the terminal when I had to use the terminal back in the day for almost everything that I wanted to do. I actually really like Pop OS so much to the point that I may not go back to Windows. Honestly.
They make it really easy, to be honest. Like they take everything that people don't like about Ubuntu and they modernize it. Like Ubuntu, like literally you have, when you go install something on Ubuntu, right? It's literally an arm and a leg. There's 2 separate apps for that. Literally. And what I don't understand is Ubuntu literally, right? Ubuntu literally is the mainstream of Linux. Literally. Quite literally. I got you, bud. There we go. Turn it down a little bit.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. I got you. Got you. So it's a two-way street. Like they take the best of Ubuntu, like the Pop Shop is pretty much the Ubuntu store.
Right.
But better. And then they pretty much compile pretty much NVIDIA's software or NVIDIA's driver baked into it. It's really nice. I mean, if you're going to go Linux, I would recommend Manjaro and Pop OS at the moment. 2 good softwares. You can't go wrong with both. And if you're like Digital here that's had all the problems with Windows.
I've had more problems with Windows this year than I ever have.
Yeah.
Every update has been a hit and miss for me. I went from having no issues with Windows, like at all. Like not this year, but last year. I didn't crash as much. Did I have crashes? Yes, but it was like once a day, maybe once every other day, which was fine. I was like, okay, I could live with that. as the patches have progressed, I have actually went from having one crash a day to now anywhere from 2 to 4 crashes a day. And I can't deal with it anymore. Like, I really can't deal with it anymore. I have done the clean install like 3 times, more than I should have for a year. All right. You should only have to do this like once every 3 to 4 years tops.
Right.
I have found myself reformatting my hard drive more this year than I have ever prior. So I'm just not going to deal with that crap anymore, dude. I can't. Like, I was this close from giving up on PC gaming because of it. But Linux doesn't do any of that crap to me. Like, I literally did all my OBS tests for internet integrities, file integrities, streaming integrities, and it's solid, maxed out all the way across the board with no problems whatsoever. I tried that crap with OBS on Windows. The best I could do is like 480p 30 frames a second, which is weird. Like, that's so strange. I don't get it. Somebody was trying to tell me that my hardware was just that out of date because Windows is like patching their shit so much that they're not dealing with any of the actual issues. They're just
What's up, Nevin? How you doing, man?
Throwing band-aids over it. So yeah, I'm on Linux. I'm enjoying it. It's easier to deal with now, and I might end up staying here. So
they made it simple, really, when it comes to gaming. Really, there's a few things. What's up, buddy? What's up, Sense? How you doing, bud? I mean, Linux, what I like about Linux is people frown upon it because literally there's not a lot of games, but if you really dive into Latoris on Linux, on Pop! OS, Ubuntu, or Manjaro, your game support is there. Like, there's some workarounds you have to do, but all you gotta do is press the install button from the website, pops the app up, and it starts loading the script and everything over. Right. That's the thing I liked. Like, I like that a lot. You know what I mean? Welcome in, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good night. We are doing the Game Talk podcast weekly show that we do. We usually do an afternoon and night show, and we've just had so many issues personally going on, including myself. That's why you haven't seen me stream on Trovo or anything like that, is because I've been so super busy with so much personal shit happening to me. So, yeah. Finally got it all squared away. We're going to be back to streaming sometime tonight. Probably not going to be going to bed because I got things to do tomorrow morning. So, yeah. And these gentlemen have had personal issues, too, to where they've not been able to do what they want to do either. But we are talking about digital here going to Linux from Windows 10. And I went to Linux, and I tried it for 2 days. Fortunately, some things got me back over to Windows. But I will say Linux is literally better than Windows. Right now, the current state of it, it is really nice. There is no, like, when it comes up for an update, it's up on the top. Literally, up on the top. It's simple. Pop! OS is pretty much like, I would consider it to be like the Apple of Linux stuff, where it just comes up off the side, tells you when it's done, press restart, done. And
the updates are fast. Like, they are super fast because it actually utilizes your internet connection properly the way it's meant to be used. It's not being tied down and bogged down by driver issues and integrity issues and about 35 to 40 protocols that require your internet connection to actually run on Windows. It's ridiculous. So,
well, here's another thing on Pop! OS I'll give them credit on when you're updating, which is cool. They do the whole Apple thing. Like, what, you know how on an iPhone, when you restart it, does that, it will do the same. And it's really quick. There is no having to go pick, like, updates. What not to do, what not to do. You know what I mean? Deny, allow, allow. It's pretty much 1, 2, and 3. And what I like about it is they have if you've been on the Pop! OS side of things, they actually built their own PCs. So if you want Pop! OS, right, System 76, they actually make their own PCs. So if you're looking at getting a optimized desktop, dedicated for Pop! OS, they sell their own machines, which is nice. That's how they make their money to keep supporting the software. And you could donate to them if you choose to. Any of these Linux distros, you can support them. And the 3 I would tell you to support right now would be Manjaro, Pop OS. Ubuntu not so much. I would honestly say what's the other one?
There's
Mint.
a lot.
Mint.
Mint is really good.
Those are the three I would tell you to go with. Those three. But if you need a PC build, like just flat out, System 76 has you there. So if you want their software pre-configured and optimized out of the box, you can go with one of their pre-builds and they do it for you. You can actually call them over the phone and they'll actually do it for you as well. It's pretty cool. When I looked into System 76 about 2 years ago, I thought they were a joke. I thought that people were kidding. That they were trying to go for like the Apple kind of feel and look and how you can get the system integration. And then I saw Linus do a video on their PC, the wood PC that he had from them. And they were for real. Like,
they're for real.
I had a lot.
Go
for it. I'm sorry.
I've been following System 76 for a while. I've actually had my eye on a few of their laptops a few years ago. Never actually got one, though. They're pretty fucking solid.
Their company's interesting.
Yeah.
I was thinking about back to get one of the laptops to make it a streaming rig.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And their prices are not that bad, really.
Compared to what they're still selling an i5 2700K or 2600K for still on Amazon as a laptop. Yeah, System 76 definitely has you guys price point.
Now, if you wanted to, so to anybody here that has an older machine that's having issues, like we're talking like a 6700K, 6600K, i7 4790, 47, I would just recommend if you're having all these problems with Windows, because what's happening is Windows, they support the newer shit. They don't support the older shit. That's what's happening. And what Windows is doing potentially is making you upgrade. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is shitty.
You know, that's shitty, dude. It's a prick move.
They're going the way of the phones. So if you have an older machine, I would literally recommend you to go to Linux. Yes, there is trials and tribulations with it. But once you get through those things, you're pretty okay.
The Pop OS, though, from what I've seen, like, it's really not that bad. Like, no. I've had a few things freeze on me, but you could just literally close out of it on the top of the screen, that little bar up top, just close it out instantly. You don't have to worry about command prompts. You don't need to go into your system cache and go into the programs listing and hit in process.
It does it all like 1, 2, and 3. That's the great part about Linux. You click it, end it, and it ends completely. There's no storing it in the RAM at all. There's like you don't press Control Delete, and then you look at Task Manager and you end it, and it still has like 5 processes going on in the background. So that's the cool part of Linux. Now I'm going to be doing a little different because I have Elgato shit. So Elgato literally is more of an Apple and Windows thing. So I'm going to go over to the Hackintosh of things and try that out in the future. I'm probably going to do Catalina most likely, go that way with Hackintosh and try it out. Because I've heard the Hackintosh market is great.
That's weird that Elgato doesn't work on Linux, considering it works on Apple and Apple's Linux based. So I don't.
Yeah, right.
That's really weird.
Right. That's the thing I don't understand. But
do you have to compile it maybe like you say with Da Vinci?
No. So they got somebody working on it, but he's only working on the HD60. So there is a driver on Linux, right? There is. But it's not compatible with some of the newer stuff. And he even states it himself. He tried to make it for himself, and it wasn't really mainstream for everybody. So, yeah, it's and two, the other thing is it doesn't have the UVC stuff like AverMedia does. A lot of AverMedia product has the UVC built into it. So that's the one that if you're going for capture cards for Linux, you want to go AverMedia. You do not want to touch Elgato, period. Like, the HD2 works very well from what I've been told. The Live Gamer Mini works really well. Some of the older AverMedia stuff works really well. Not everything. You have to go look at a list, and it has to say UVC supported. So once you get that, you pretty much go into OBS, and you would go underneath OBS where it says audio, and you just select that digital interface, and it's 1, 2, and 3 at that point. And which is cool about Pop! OS, and what I like about a lot of the distros out there with OBS, there's no more having to add third-party software for you to freaking do your webcam. You could zoom it in. There's tons of emulation you could do for different encodecs, and you play with them, and you get to see your picture of your quality. So that Logitech camera you had that thought you was shit actually looks really well on Linux. It actually looks ballin'.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, okay, so like my view to him, right? I'm looking at the stream, and he's streaming from a Windows PC. His light source is blowing him out.
Yeah.
My screens are blowing me out.
Wait, what?
But when I go look at Linux on this monitor, which is on my end, which has all of our windows up, it's the opposite. Like the color gradient is perfect. Like he is actually like really refined in the image that I have right now.
They really do well with the colors. The color palette is really nice on Linux.
His image, like there's an actual outline of him. Like, and it's really crystal clear. Like it's really good. And the light isn't even blowing him out. Like it looks like it's actually showing the light source the way it needs to show the light source.
Now
I think
on Linux, the only thing Elgato that works on Linux, from my knowledge, is the Camlink. Camlink is UVC supported, and it works just fine. I had one, used it on Linux, it worked fine. Sound goes through and everything. It's just a lot of these companies don't value Linux as anything, really. That's where it comes down to. They should. More and more people are going over to it. They should, to be honest, but they don't. Hopefully, with all the mainstream stuff that's going on with Pop! OS and Ubuntu, with Windows dumping in so much money into Carnicle, so much money into them, and Pop! OS putting so much money into their building PCs and making money, it's going to be interesting the next couple of years. And now with Vulkan and DirectX or DXVK, it's really interesting. And a lot of games run. Like, you would be surprised. A lot of people frown upon Linux because games don't run on it.
Oh, they have things now that, like, if Lutris doesn't work for you, you can go and just download the Proton, implement the Proton directly into Steam, inject it into Steam.
Yep.
That fixes your issue. Like, right now, I didn't notice this before, but like every single game that I have installed right now, and that's a lot of games. Okay, this is a lot of freaking games. Every single one of them, since I went into the Steam thing and set the settings, is being implemented with Vulkan. It installs it to it.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool. Now I'm not gonna say it works right out of the box. Like I'm sure there's gonna be some shit that I got to do, and if that's the only drawback, then I'm okay with that. If I have to do a workaround here and there to make a game run, I'm fine with that.
I would say most of the games, like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, like I'll say this because I own Shadow of the Tomb Raider on PC, and it has a Linux support. It's supported on Linux natively. There is no on Steam. There is no having to go anywhere. When you load that game up on your Linux machine, I think it looks better than the Windows version with DirectX 12 going on.
You know what else looks really good on Linux that looks than Windows? Overwatch.
Yes, it does. Yes.
It looks so good. Like it does. It looks really, really good. I think it's just because Linux turns up the colors. The colors, and it turns up the render quality like a lot. Like it's because I've noticed this. When you do a 1080p wallpaper on Linux, it's clear. Like it looks beautiful, right?
Yes, it does. You
do 1080p on a fucking Windows PC and it's blur fucked. Like I don't know if it's the file type, maybe if it's because I've downloaded PNG files that don't even look that good. So I don't know.
Well, from my two experiences, you have to do tinkering on Linux, Windows. I'm going to tell people this: if you're thinking about, okay, my Windows sucks, I don't like it, I want to go over to Linux. You need to write a list. I'm going to tell you, go with a list of things that you're looking to do and make sure your devices work on it. Check all the boxes before you go over to Linux, because if you have something you really enjoy, like a Stream Deck or a capture card that you can't live without, make sure it's compatible with Linux before you go and do the jump. Because if you don't, well, you're going to be having a really headache trying to either sell off that capture card to get something else or find an alternative to the Stream Deck, which there is. There's alternatives. So I could go out and buy a hotkey, pad and do the same thing, with third-party software, most likely. Linux supported probably too. So, and the audio. This is one thing I will say over Windows is the audio is so much better on Linux. Like cleaner, more rich.
Yeah.
Whatever they're doing with their encodeks over on Linux, it's on Pop OS in particular. It's amazing. And even the Pop OS team said they were working on gaming. So, like, I just don't understand.
Listen to your music on a pair of cans like this on Linux.
Yeah.
Like I thought I heard the nuances before. Nah, this does it better. The more details, the better, man. That's how I love my music.
Now, I will tell you guys this. If you want to go to Linux, I would tell you straight up, processor-wise, you would want to run is probably like a Ryzen 5. An i5 would do you just fine, too. You don't need to throw You don't need to throw a heavy machine at Linux, really, to get it to run.
No, it really doesn't. I mean, Linux can run off of a single-core processor with no problem.
I have heard rumors that if you decide to run Linux and use a laptop, it can be pretty hell for the battery. Supposedly, I've heard that.
I heard that was a thing, but I was playing around in my system settings today, and you could turn Power Saver on.
Oh yeah, true.
Fedora was famous for that. Fedora is known to kill most Samsung phones. So if you're running Fedora on your laptop, yeah, your battery is gonna fucking just go boom.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Indubitably.
Oh, and my mic was sky high. Sorry guys about that. Didn't mean to blow your ears off over on the OBS side.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Sony investing into Epic.
Jesus.
Sorry.
Bro, like, did Sony not get the memo? Don't you know everybody's supposed to hate Epic right now?
Right.
Nobody's allowed to use Epic because they're a bad service, right? Like,
Right.
that's kind of like the most common thing. Mm-hmm. And Sony's like, hey, we want some money?
Well, we want to own a stake in Epic Games, and they just did.
What's the percentage that they gave him?
I'd have to go look at that article. Let me go look at that article.
Gentlemen, can you excuse me for like 3 minutes? I gotta use the bathroom real quick.
No problem.
No, absolutely not. Go in your pants.
All right, fine.
Just kidding.
I got a bucket for a reason. No, I'm kidding.
Let's go back to the article. Let's see here. Reading it. Let's see. Yoshida is he was the one that brought out the news. He said Epic's powerful technology in areas such as great graphics places them on the forefront of the game engine development, Unreal Engine 5, and other innovations, said Sony Corporation Chairman Yukata Shida, or Shida, or whatever. The guy that, made a joke at Microsoft back a couple years ago about their DRM. That never happened, but, it was funny.
Yeah, no,
he
you're
is
good.
he is the guy technically. So from this tweet, Tencent invested $330 million in Epic Games back in 2012, and they have a 40% stake. Sony invested $250 million today, plus will give them literally 1.5% stake within Epic's value at $17 billion. And they're saying in the future that it may go up. Sony stake.
How are they worth $17 billion still? Is it because they hand out free games like it's water? Like, it's the only thing I can think of. Because if you look at their store, like, I mean, all the faults are there. Like, all the faults are legitimately there. I think a lot of the community are right to call them out for it. But how are they worth billions still? The only thing I can think of is maybe their engine, all the engine assets that they've been selling, and the engine licenses that they get a share on for every sell that developers make on it. That's the only thing I can think of.
Well, with Sony investing into this, that tells me that their games are going to be exclusive to Epic Games going forward. That's what I'm assuming. They may just pull off Horizon Zero Dawn. They may just pull it off the store of Steam and put it just Epic all the way. So I'm assuming
I can see that. With
this whole deal. Now, it's going to piss off a lot of people I know. But guess what? Sony and Tencent own they own a pretty good stake in the company now. So they get to call the shots. It's not fully Epic running it anymore. And the way this investment's going to turn into be, like, if it turns in right, Sony will own a big chunk in the next couple of years going forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool, I guess. It's just, I didn't think they were making that kind of money, though, on the assets and shit, but I guess they are.
Yeah.
And I know Fortnite makes them a ton of money every day.
So Sony has invested, so from what I read here, it says Sony has invested $250 million. So I'm confused here. So Sony, okay, okay. So Sony has invested $250 million towards Epic. It's a majority stake in. It's a majority stake technically. What Sony said over time, they want their shares to go up within the company, so they can have some type of control. So them and Tencent will have pretty much. It'll be a 1 and 2 stake within Epic Games, which really. Anything you hear from the CEO of Epic anymore is kind of pointless because Sony and Tencent make the calls, if that's the way it is. Way it seems like it's going to be.
It very well could be. I mean, Epic can't just, say, no, we're going to do our own thing. There's of course, there's stipulations with that money. Of course.
Well, now this brings up the question. This brings up the question, is this going to be Sony's way of trying to go in and make this platform into their own thing? Long term.
Maybe. Could.
Be like their Xbox app type deal. Go in. Why don't we just go in and buy the established company and then put all of our games onto that established company since they're well known?
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Well, yep.
And, then they got to battle Tencent. And the question there is, will they buy out Tencent? That's the question going forward. That'll be the question. Will they buy their stake out just to say they have it all?
The only way they'll be able to do that, though, that's a lot of money. First off, that's a ton of money. They would have to make unbelievable amounts of money on this next launch. That means every game possible that sells has to be a hit if they're going to plan to do something like that. Because you got to remember, this is the same company that was griping about price of games. So go figure.
Well, what do we know about Epic Games? They've always been fuckery. They said they weren't. They said they were going to make games cheaper, and they didn't. At the end of that tunnel, they didn't. They said, well, I'll give them credit. They gave us the free games they promised. They've been still living up to that commitment. But they have really kind of not lowered the prices of gaming. They really didn't shake up the industry like everybody said they were going to do. You had analysts coming out, so they're going to shake up the industry. They never really did. They just gave us free games and tried to bring people over. And they tried to...
Not really a shake at all. That's more like not even a rumble. Because Origin was doing that in the beginning when they first came out. They were giving out free games. Remember Games on the House?
Yeah.
Program that they ran?
Yeah.
And they saw that wasn't really working, so they stopped doing it. Steam's been doing it because of the COVID situation, and they give out a game once in a blue moon. So it's not like they're doing anything new. Only thing that's new about what they're giving away is the amount. Like they're giving out like 3 to 4 games sometimes, and they're still not getting the traction that they think they deserve. And they need to change the way they think if they're going to progress forward.
Well, why don't Epic do this? Why don't they charge a subscription fee and you get a handful of games a month, part of the subscription base? Kind of like how Xbox has their.
Or why not just do like exactly what you're saying, but their entire library?
Right.
$15 a month, you get the entire library access.
Yeah. And imagine what they do on the PlayStation side with that. Since they own a stake in, Epic now. All the Epic games that they make, just pay Epic for the subscription and include PlayStation Plus on top of that. That would be genius. And then they throw PS Now into that if they wanted to lower. See, the thing with Sony that they need to do is drop that PS Now. Like, literally drop the price.
Being used?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay.
So what they do with PS Now is they're kind of doing what Xbox is doing, where you pay for their membership and you get some games that you can play through the service for free, included for an X amount of time, kind of like how Xbox does it with Ultimate Game Pass.
So is it like a download instead of a stream, I'm hoping?
You could do both. They kind of went from streaming to kind of gaming, kind of like you could download it, like a lot of the PS2, What they're planning on doing is with backwards compatibility through this program, PS Now, Mark Cerny basically explained that they're going to be adding PS1, PS2, and PS3 games through the service of PS Now. And then it'll be pretty much all put into the PlayStation Plus branch. So the games that you can't play natively, like PS1, PS2, or PS3, right? On the PS5, you could stream it to your console. I think that's honestly, I know Sony can't do it natively, so this is their other way of doing it. If they can't bring you backwards compatibility through the games you own, at least you could have the whole category through streaming. That's something. I mean, it's better than nothing. And even Microsoft's come out and even stated that not all their games are going to be backwards compatible, from different generations. So, I mean, and that's a segue into our next topic, the Microsoft event.
Yeah, so what happened with that? I haven't gotten a chance to watch it.
Well, it's not happening until 10 days from now. So on July 25th, they're just going to be showing off games and people are upset. But Microsoft and Sony are playing this by what's going on in America. America is their big market. Same with Europe or the UK. So they're playing it with their cards. I could see them announcing pricing a month beforehand before these consoles launch. Why? Think about it. Stimulus checks.
Right.
Everybody in August is getting a stimulus check. Supposedly, speculation, supposedly. And it's supposed to be more than the first go-around. So if Sony and Microsoft are looking at this, why don't we launch in October? Launch in August, September. Why don't we push it that far back? And people have so much money, we could sell consoles left and right. Government money in your hand. It makes sense. I don't think Microsoft needs to show off anything in this event, really, to be honest. They really don't, to be honest. Just games. Show me games.
I just want to see games. I don't want a repeat of 2012. Or whenever that was. Was that 2012?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was. Okay.
2012, where they announced DRM right behind it at the event, and everybody...
Always online for the handshake.
Yep. Or if you're doing family share, both of you have to be on at the same time and check in at the same time. And Don Matrick's like, oh, yeah, you want backwards compatibility? Just get a 360 after the event. That whole catchphrase.
Yeah, let's not do that again. Okay? That would be wonderful.
What I'm hoping for the event is a new Perfect Dark game, something different, and a little bit of Fable. I want to see what Playground Games has been up to. I want to see because Microsoft said they put a whole bunch of money behind them
Yeah.
for this game in particular. And they also, we're not going to see Forza here. I think we're going to see a tech demo of Forza. But I think you're going to see Hellblade being pushed back because of the Unreal 5 engine. They've already stated because of Unreal 5, they want to push it back and get it on Unreal 5, which I don't blame them there. It's a better engine supposedly over Unreal 4 altogether with lighting and ray tracing and all that together. And they said they were going to do something that was going to shake up the industry at that event. So I'm assuming that already it happened. I'm making an assumption that they bought out WB Games. And we'll get it at that event. Now, I know Junie and myself, have been back and forth with you, Digital, on that. I think if I'm Microsoft, I try to go get all the assets I can. Get all the game titles
I'm right
I
there
can.
with you. Like, I feel you on that, but Batman?
Well,
I didn't like the fact that they implemented DC shit in Mortal Kombat as it was. You know what I mean?
right.
Like,
I'd like to see them get Mortal Kombat, though. That would be great for the Microsoft platform.
what I would like to see is more shit for a Killer Instinct. That's like one of my favorite fighting games still.
Yeah, what happened
that game.
what happened with that game, man?
It fell off, dude. Like, people just...
Rare
I don't
stopped
know.
giving a shit. That's what happened. And Microsoft
Rare-
stopped giving a shit.
Rare just dropped off the fucking planet, dude. Like, I don't know what the hell happened.
Well, Rare focused more on Sea of Thieves. That's what happened there. Sea of Thieves, they focused more on. And they're also working on another game, too.
Well, Sea of Thieves is really, it's benefiting from it. You can tell they fixed a lot of shit. Like, it looks beautiful. It runs better. There's more to do. But come on, guys. Like, is it really that hard to, like, go and check in on your old IPs every now and then and give it a little love, patch it up a little bit, clean it up a little bit,
I think we're going to see something out of the Gears camp, and I think we're going to see something out of the Halo camp. I think we're going to see something of the future of Gears. I know we're not getting it this year, but we'll get it next year because we usually get a Halo first, and then it's Gears right behind it. I think you will see some more Assassin's Creed stuff because were working with Ubisoft for a short time on some of that stuff. I think you're going to see a lot of new games from Microsoft. I'm really believing this. Microsoft has to show games at this point. Because if they don't show any games, then what's the whole point of buying their console? You know what I mean? What's the whole point? You might just go at that point, if they don't show off many games you want, you might just go PS5 at that point. Because you're getting games, and then Microsoft Sony just signed a whole bunch of other studios too right behind it this week alone. So Microsoft needs to show off games. That's the thing here. They really do. They need to show off why you want to buy an Xbox Series X. I don't expect pricing here. I wanted pricing here, but I don't think they're really going to show. It's already pre-recorded. So what they're going to do is just premiere it, and then we're going to see it, and then, it's going to be their reaction to Sony doing games. I would have really liked them to show off the Lockhart, though, at this point. I want to see that small box. I'm fascinated now. I've seen so much leak images now, it's not even funny. I want to see, and I want to see the price range. I'm kind of fascinated. I know it's not going to be, it's going to be an advancement over the One X by a lot in CPU department. I'm fascinated to see how small it's going to be and, what it's going to be. What market they going for? I think they're going for that streaming TV audience with that console in particular.
See, like, I look at it this way: when you could buy a Roku for $100,
right?
Comes pre-installed with HDR10, Linux backend for stability. Why would you want to spend $500 to watch movies on a box that you could do when you could buy a box for cheaper that does a better job?
Well, that's why Microsoft is going the Series S. You see, I get why they're doing it. They're trying to get that Apple TV market in a way where
Good fucking luck.
well,
Yeah.
Apple TV is not bad though.
No, I'm sure it's not. But that's what I'm saying. Like, good luck. There's a lot of people, including myself, that would probably buy into something like that because of my appreciation for Apple nowadays.
Well,
don't-
Microsoft's got to do something. They want to kill two birds in one stone.
Dude, they need to stop with that shit. They need to focus more on games than they should be on fucking network television. Like,
Well, I'm just going off.
television-
I'm going
No,
off
I know,
of what
I
I've
know.
seen of the box
I
and what
know.
I think they're going
Yeah.
for.
No, I know, and that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying, it's as somebody who is a huge Microsoft fan, I believe they need to knock the fucking TV shit out already. Like, just you guys tried it, you guys invested in the networks, you didn't get a payback on it. You should really stop while you're ahead,
Yeah, I agree there.
because right now, it's good while it's going. You don't want to make that stop, and that's going to happen. Because these companies, yeah, they got some fuck you money, but that doesn't last forever with stupid investments left and right.
Well,
Look at Sega.
I see the Lockhart. I see the Lockhart coming in at $250. I really do. $250, $199, and that gives you that sweet spot because a lot of people that I know do game on their. I know people that game on a Roku and Apple boxes. And that kind of, if they get the Lockhart there, then that's really where Apple TV's at, really, for content and everything else. And Microsoft kills their competition at the same time, really, with their, if you get the streaming service, all that. I want to see their streaming service. I want to see them talk about it a little bit more, really, because I did enjoy what I played on their streaming service.
I mean, if they could pull it off, great. But I don't see them pulling it off. They've been trying at this since 2012. And they haven't made any leeway. They feature Netflix, for crying out loud. Like, any new exclusive that comes out on Netflix, they try to like put their name on it on the Xbox store.
Yep.
It's like, come on, guys, this is a desperate move. Like, stop. Just stop. Like, your gaming is your bread and butter when it comes to consoles.
Well,
Like,
that's what Phil Spencer's trying to bring it back to. Give him
Yeah,
credit.
like I think Phil Spencer's the only one that has any common sense in that fucking corporation anymore, dude.
Well, he's trying to bring it back to gaming, so I really do see the Series S being like $250 or $199. I really see it that way. I may be reaching out on a limb on that.
Okay, you say 250. I say 350. I'll put it up $100.
Okay.
We'll see who's right. 350 is what I'm going to guess at because that's right around the price point that the new S came out at when it was brand new. Like what, $399 or something like that. So
Well, I'll make a prediction. I'll say this: if we're betting, I'll say 300. Okay, my final decision: 300. I say $300 because the PlayStation 4 came out at 300 at the time at launch. Yeah, it was that was when they dropped the price. So I'll say 300 for the Series S. The Series X will be 450. I'll say 450 on that.
okay.
And I think honestly they'll have 3 consoles. I really do believe they'll have 3 consoles.
For the Series X non-bundled, no games, 1 controller, easily $399.
Woo.
Series X,
Ooh, you're
$399.
wow.
$399.
And if you're gonna go that way, I had the non-disc version of the so 3 consoles, guys. I'm making this prediction now. 3 consoles Microsoft were released at launch. So you have 2 Series X's, and you'll have the Series S. Series S, I said 3. Did I say 3? 250. I said right. 250, 300. And then
250.
and then I'll have the Series X non-disc version, 350. 350 for the non-disc version, and then for the disc version, I'll have it sitting at $399. That will kill your competition right there. 3 consoles, you give the best of everything to everybody, and in a short period of time, release that with some good games. I know we're not going to get Hellblade, right? I know we're not getting Hellblade. but we're going to get Halo Infinite. And honestly, what they need to do right behind at launch, just to sell you even more to the console, give you 12 months of Xbox Ultimate Game Pass on the house. Just give it away. For the price you're getting it for, just give it away. And I'll tell you, they'll sell a whole bunch of consoles that way. Because that gives you access to Halo Infinite right off the rip. That'll give you Gears of War 120 FPS version. Ray tracing, Minecraft, all of it for free. So right off the rip, they solve two things. The pandemic issues that are going on with people and the wallet issues people are having. Because people are going to be struggling trying to buy these consoles because they're going to have to upgrade something else in their setups. Either monitor, TV, soundbar, something. You know how it goes. Because when the Xbox One came out, I upgraded my TV. I had to upgrade. It sucked.
Yeah.
So XP, what do you think? What do you think of the next generation consoles, the Xbox on the side? What do you think?
Considering I haven't had an Xbox since like the 360 days, I don't have an opinion on it. I haven't been playing any consoles and I haven't kept up with much, unfortunately. Like, all this is news to me.
Come on, man.
Well, I also think here's a prediction. I'll say PS5 right now. PS5, $399 for the discless version and $499 for the disc version. I'm saying that right now. Because Sony can't help themselves but jacking up the price.
Mm-hmm.
And I say Microsoft comes in at that sweet spot of $250 to $400.
And if they actually put a good disc drive for fucking once into an Xbox, that $100 could be worth it. If they actually invest the $100 into it, that is. And not a $20 OEM out of some fucking company that nobody knows about.
Well, I thought the Xbox disc drives were fine. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you talking about the PlayStation side?
I could be talking about both, actually, because I've always had issues with both.
Really? That's interesting.